Okay, we're ready to pull the bumper down. I haven't disconnected everything underneath because I've already went through this once. The videotape that was done of the job came out horrible, so this is being redone just to show how the bumper comes off and comes on. I've already changed out the tailgate warning buzzer. Here's the old one right here. I'm going to pull the bumper down, show you where the new one is, and then we're going to put it right back up. Otherwise I'd have to go under and disconnect a whole bunch of other things, which I don't want to have to do because I have a tow package on this car. Okay, so we got to the point where the two ends are loose, as you can see, both sides. So basically you just want to come in the middle right here and pull straight out. And there your bumper goes down. And I'm going to leave this right like this, right here. Here's the buzzer that I had to replace. This was the old one, as you can see. Right here it's all corroded, all this stuff comes right up. And inside of here is a brass speaker, which the salt just eats right away. And once that gets wet, it shorts out. So, like I stated before, I used the clear coat on the new one on the brass speaker. You can also use fingernail polish to coat it so that the moisture doesn't get at it with the road salt and cause the corrosion. So basically you have your bumper off. You can do whatever you want with it. Now I'm going to show you how to put it back on using only one person. Normally this is a two-man job. Here's your little instrument. Here's what you need right here. You're going to put that right over right here, and that will rest the correct height on the cutout right here where your exhaust pipe goes. And that'll hold up one side while you fasten the other side. And what you want to do is before you start, you want to look at your tabs right here to make sure that, because sometimes they're removed, they bend up a little bit. So you want to make sure that they're all nice and pushed down so that when you push it back on, it grips it good and tight. Alright. Also, if you have a saggy bumper, you notice there's a large gap here. This is how you'd adjust it. You push the whole thing up and down. Okay, that's a fine adjustment. If you notice there's a large gap right here, there should only be about a 1/4 inch gap when this is done, right in between here. Okay, so we're going to put it back up, and sorry for the back view, but it's the only way I can do it. It's basically you get it up close to position, push that on one side over there, come over to the other side. Line up your tabs on the bottom right here. You'll see them right there. Line them all up, all 4 of them. Once you have them lined up, just push them in. And you can see there's a very little gap there. Come over to each end. You want to start out moving the fender flare out of the way. I'm going to do the driver's side here so you can get a view of it. And give me 1 minute and then we'll refocus. So when you're reinstalling it, once you have the center up, you have to go and pull this up into here. Make sure you're above. Put your piece right in here first. That locks you in. Pull your fender flare out and out of the way. Like so, starting at the top, push it up and lock it in. Make sure it's over the piece of plastic here properly. Check for your alignment, make sure it's flush. Lines line up. She's a done deal. Repeat on the other side. Okay, the fender is bumper is popped into place on the fender. I do want to make a note, a little correction. You're better off snapping the outer fender, the bumper to the rear quarter panel. While this is off like this, it'll give you more room. And then snap that over. Now the reason I'm highlighting the installation of the screws here, I want to point out something that a lot of people are not aware of. these bumper screws, if you'll notice, it's plastic. It's not metal. Gives you a wood type screw. What happens is, when people put these back in, basically they just take, they jam it in the hole, and they start threading. The problem with that is, this is plastic. Once you make a new thread in that, quote, cross thread, because you didn't line up with the original threads, you weakened it by 2/3. Instead of taking 20 pounds to strip that out, it's only going to take 3 to 5 pounds. So what I always recommend, whenever you're going into plastic with a screw, put your screw into there, turn it backwards until you feel it drop into the original threads. Then turn it in. Now you're in the original threads. You had the original 20 pounds holding power. I'll demonstrate one more time. Take your screw. You can plainly see it drops in. Turn it backwards. And there it goes. It drops right into the original thread. Screw it in. And you have the original. For plastic, I call it pinky tight. My pinky can do it, it's tight enough. Anything tighter than that, you're going to start to strip it. I'm going to reassemble everything. And I got one more tip to show you when you're putting the taillight assembly in that plastic piece. So don't cut out right now. Okay, I have the tire fender part there, mud guard back on. Everything's done except the bottom and the tail lights. So we're going to do the tail lights now. I'm going to do the passenger to show you how it goes on, and then we're going to show you how to put that plastic piece on correctly. It's very difficult, believe me. I very rarely get it on the first shot. Okay, so we're going to do the passenger's tail light right here. I usually just do a little cleanup here, so you don't get a chance to get that dirt underneath there. Basically, you're just going to take, you have 2 holes right here for the pins. They're elongated, so once you pop them in, they slide forward a little bit. Line up the pins right here. Make sure this, oh, I'm sorry. Put your socket together first. Line your pins up, the end one first, and once you bring it over, the other one will just pop right in. And it's just a matter of putting it right there, and that's it. Put your 2 screws in. These are metal screws. Make sure you don't cross thread them. You want to make sure that you line them body-wise when you do it. There it is. Sorry about that, people. Again, when you tighten them, finger tighten it here. You want to pull it so that it's lined up right here. This edge is right on right here, and that's where you'll tighten the position down. Okay. As I showed you before, the shield that goes on that covers this right here is right here. And there's ears on it, as you can see right here. This particular one right here is the fussy one. You really have to have that in the right angle in order for it to go in properly. You have one right here, and you have one, you have one right here, and one over here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this goes in. I'm going to try to get in a little closer so that you can see, and I hopefully don't obscure this with my hands. Basically, you want to take it like so. You want to go down. Don't start up like this. You'll never get it in. You have to follow the way the ears are. They go up like that. So you want to go and put it into position right here. And you can see how that goes in. And then this right here, you have to go like that. See how that just snapped in there? And this has to be off of here. If this is there, you'll never get it in. That's why this is pulled up out of the way. I'm going to show you the other side, because the other side always gives me trouble. And you'll see when it gives you trouble how it won't line up right here. This is very important to make sure that you have this like this. Because if you don't, you're going to get interference coming down, and you might possibly cause damage to your tail light assemblies. Also, a lot of people don't know, but your sensor, for the pressure sensor to stop the door from closing, is, I'm going to show you right here, is right up on, it's this little dot right here. That's the pressure sensor right there. If anything comes within this area right here, that'll stop the door from closing. Okay, just a little info fact for you. All right, so we're going to go over to this side here. Now I'm going to install this side. And I just want you to pay attention to the plastic part. The other part is pretty standardized, so. Again, line up the inner edge right there, pull it down. Here's the plastic piece again. Again, the problem is this one ear right here. This one right here is usually the one that'll screw up on you. And this one down here, it'll fold in like that, which is no good. It's got to be up. And again, I tell you, this one always gives me a hard time. No matter how careful I do it. See how it's not coming down there correctly, because that thing is off alignment. And I'll show you. See how it's bent down right there. It's got to be bent upwards. It's got to stay straight. Be careful you don't bend it too far and break it off. It's a soft plastic. It'll take a lot of bending to break it off. There you go. That's it right there. Okay. Make sure that's popped down in there. You can feel it. Okay. So now put your trim back on. And what I want to point out on the trim here, when you're putting it back on, is you want to start at the center. And there's a reason for that. It'll be off alignment. There's a mark right there in the center. Just line it up with your center catch right there for your tailgate, and it just pops right on. Like I said, you want to make sure it's centered or else you end up with a goofball on the other end. Basically push it into place all the way up. Show you the other side tucking up. That's it. Okay, your top half is done. So we're going to go down and we're going to finish the bottom. And we're going to bring the camera down because I want to show you an issue that you need to be aware of when you're installing the screws at the mud flaps on the bottom. So we'll get underneath there and I'll show you what that issue is, and then we'll close it off. Okay, we're under at the driver's side, the mud flap fender or bumper attachment back to the body. And what you want to be aware of is this is the fender liner right here. And this fender liner, ignore this wire, this is for my underground lighting. Let me get that up out the way. Okay. This fender liner needs to come, this tab needs to go in between right there. As you can see, that's where the push pin goes in. Alright? So that all has to be lined up. Make sure that the felt is in between the metal bracket from the car and the bottom of the bumper before you put the push pin in. And make sure that the push pin goes all the way through to the back side of the metal. You can feel right there. You'll be able to feel it. So make sure you do that. Then finally put your bottom screw in for the mud flap. And you'll be done.